Diana.
There are two sides to every story. No, there are more than two sides.
You're live, oh, better respect
Yeah?
yourself. You're live already.
Oh, really? Oh, with the battery, that battery would be good.
Yeah.
A community
Without
a common ground
Ew.
will eventually
what?
become a battleground.
English.
It didn't work.
It is. It's perfect.
Okay, let's go ahead.
I love it and I love it very much. My name is Tony from Political Voices, always keeping me busy, always makes me happy as I'm on strike as a student.
Political voices. One story, many outcomes.
Where are your guests?
Those some come.
Because I have one post on our Facebook, let's send you the topic on WhatsApp. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to Political Voices on 92.5 Enugu's Dream FM. Political Voices is a session of comments, interviews, and analysis of current political issues, how they affect and shape the world around you and I. Today's Thursday, the 3rd of June 2021, and my name is Jude Thomas Dawam. Our focus today is on Anambra governorship election, the search for credible leaders. But before we delve into that, let's quickly take you to some of the political stories that we are following. Following a tweet by President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday, wherein he had vowed to come down on those against his government, just like the Civil War, Apex Igbo, a social cultural organization, Ohaneze Igbo, has asked the president to retract his threat against secessionist agitators in the southeast. In a statement by Ohanese's Secretary General, Mazi Okechukwu Isiguzoro, Buhari should quickly resign the threat of repeating the episodes of the Civil War experience, which killed 3 million Igbo people and wreaked havoc on Igbo properties, and should also tender an unreserved apology to Igbo for the Civil War carnage against Southeast. According to him, the insecurity in the Southeast may not be far from bandits from the North, stressing that before now there was clear warning, even by U.S. Embassy, that killer headsmen and northern bandits were heading south to destabilize the region, and what is happening now is not far from it, so the tag should not be on Igbo youths. The federal government has reacted to the ongoing outrage over the alleged threat against Igbos by President Muhammadu Buhari, who had in a tweet on Tuesday vowed to clamp down on those destroying government facilities in the southeast, further alleging that the unknown gunmen who attacked security operatives in the region were sponsored by those who want his administration destroyed. Although Twitter on Wednesday deleted the tweet from the president's handle following the outrage from Nigerians over his comments, but reacting to the deletion, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the president has the right to express his idea on the current security challenges. The minister spoke while being questioned by State House correspondent and insisted that Twitter may have its own rules, but it's not the universal rule, and if the president anywhere in the world feels very bad and concerned about the situation, he is free to express his views. And finally, as the National Assembly begins the process of constitutional amendment, Governor David Nweze Umahi of Ebonyi State has called for the establishment of state police to contain the territory and the security situation in the country, lamenting that the present security situation in the southeast has discouraged indigents from investing in the zone. Governor Umahi, who was represented by the Deputy Governor, Dr. Kelechi Igwe, made the call while declaring open the second day of the zonal public hearing of the House of Representatives Special Committee on the review of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria held in Enugu. He noted that the federal police currently can no longer secure the lives and property of Nigerians, so states should be allowed to evolve a peculiar policing system that will guarantee the security of lives and property of their citizens. Also, the chairman of the committee, Mr. Tobi Okechukwu, explained that the exercise was organized to collect views and ensure they are reflected in the process of the constitutional amendment. Now, these are some of the political stories that we're following. Remember that you can follow us and write your messages on our Facebook page. On Facebook is 925 Dream FM, and on Twitter is at Dream 925 FM. And remember that you can also send us a WhatsApp message on 0902 00925. Do stay with us. Good morning, sir. Welcome, sir. It's still 92.5 in Enugu's Dream FM. Political Voices. Today, like we said, Political Voices is live as always, and today we are focusing on Anambra governorship election, a search for credible leadership. And let me quickly introduce my guests in the studio today. I have to my left rather, I have Dr. Augustine Okolie, who's a development and management consultant, senior lecturer on entrepreneurship in Enugu State Polytechnic, Iwolo, immediate past director of the National Orientation Agency in Enugu State. Dr. Augustine Okolie, you're welcome, sir.
Jude, we salute you. Thank you for having me in the studio today.
You're welcome. And then, of course, I have to my far left, Honorable Abia Onyeke, Chairman, Alibo Development Foundation Publicity Bureau, and former Commissioner for Information, Ebonyi State. Sir, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, my brother.
All right. Now, let me quickly give a short background on this topic that we're looking at today. As countdown to the November 6th, rather, 2021 Anambra State gubernatorial election continues. There have been various speculation as to state of development, strides in the state, and need for proper positioning of the future. So this question is going straight to Dr. Augustine Okolie. As a development and management consultant, how would you rate the various administrations in Anambra State, considering deliverables of the Millennium Development and Sustainable Development Goals?
Well, thank you once again for having me. Anambra story is an interesting story. As far as I'm concerned, this is my opinion. Anambra has the finest. Anambra has the finest of resources. In terms of human resources, Anambra should be number one in the country. Anambra should have one of the best leadership in the country, because that is the home and state of right Honorable Dr. Nnamdi Ezike of Africa. That's the home and state of so many prominent men, including the People's General, Ezike and even his father, Sir Louis, one of the richest, wealthiest Black Africa, far back in the 60s. You also see so many prominent men coming from there, particularly the first vice president of the Republic of Nigeria, Alex, the co-founder of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. You see, if you go to Anambra, they have men of timber and caliber. They have literary giants. That's the home state of the writer of Things Fall Apart, the man who wrote There Was a Country. Chimamanda Adichie is also a country from Anambra State. So we have so many people, P2B and so on, former Senate President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Kadibu, and so on. So if you name them, continue to name them, you have the whole place. But when you go down the trajectory of Anambra State, particularly if you premise it from 1999 to date, you have, maybe going straight to the question, you have the first governor from 1999 had only one term. They call him Modera. He was the first governor, had 4 years, had issues with his party, he couldn't come back, couldn't be given another opportunity. Then came the other governor, I think Ngige. Now from there you have P2B to the current governor here. I don't want to say that Senator Andrew was not governor, but his governor had issues. I could not even spend half a year in the process. So that is how they came and gone. But that is not the end of the story. So if you go back to the topic, searching for credible leadership in Anambra, then the die is cast. It belongs to the people. because the power belongs to the people. But the majority of the cases or the issues is from the political parties. Remember, we don't have independent candidates. It is political parties that throw up candidates from where the choices are made. And so when they throw up some candidates who have no pedigree, who have not what it takes, the parameters and those things Anambra people need to fly, to become number one in the world, number one in Africa, number one in Nigeria, number one state, like we have California state in the US. Anambra has all it takes to be that. The Silicon Valley, manufacturing sector, industry, human resources, education, whatever, wherever you go, they have sportsmen and women. If I begin to name them, the program will overtake us. So, but I know that Anambra can be better. Anambra can be better. It's a slogan of one of the candidates, I think, or aspirants. So PDP have gone to do their screening, APC is doing their screening, APGA is doing their screening, so that at the end of the day they slug it out. But be that as it may, you have so many political parties, those that are left from the INEC hammer. But three major political parties come to the fore. That is APC, PDP, and APGA. So from there, those candidates are the candidates that we zero in. Those are the candidates that the searchlight will beam on as we look for credible candidates. So I think it's an interesting topic. I think it's going to be a very, very lively discussions when people call in. But we know those criteria that if you have, then you can take Anambra to the promised land. They have achieved so much. They have done so much in areas, both in road networks, in people's empowerment, and infrastructure development. However, I dare say Anambra can be better.
Wow, interesting. Now, I'll come to you, Honorable Abia. Dr. Augustine Okolie has gone ahead to name some of the great names from Anambra State. But do you think that the lack of credible leadership, or rather followership, is the major problem of Anambra State, especially looking at the what one word that's quoted here, Ojebego's syndrome? I hope I got that right.
Yes.
So do you think that getting credible leaders is the problem that they're having, seeing all the great people that have come out of Anambra?
I think so, yes. There's a lot of truth about that, because one would like to agree with Doc on his postulations about Anambra State. Anambra State is the promise of the Igbo nation out of the 5 core Southeastern states. Anambra State is always in front. And so everything about leadership revolves around the exemplary leadership patterns that have emerged from that state. And therefore, we are saying that the time has come for the leadership to be elevated to new dimensions in view of the fact that that area is becoming the economic hub of West Africa, especially with the emergence of the Onitsha-Nnewi axis, which must integrate with the Aba axis in terms of business entrepreneurship in Igbo land. And so all those who have governed Anambra State have done their best in terms of laying the foundation. Peter Obi did his best, Ngige did his best, and the current governor is also doing his best. But the next level to go is the level of entrepreneurship that will introduce the capacity to harness the natural resources available within the environment, provision of electricity, to now drive the emerging industrial nexus in the Onitsha-Nnewi business axis. That is the challenge. So we should be looking for people who have the capacity to play from the private sector, statesmen who are in-depth in the area of Akurulo philosophy. Look at what Innocent has done. Look at what Kocharis has done. Look at what the Orient Group has done. Then when we look at the array of political actors who are well placed, because when you look at them, it's very difficult to say that any of them can be discarded. People like distinguished Senator Uche Ekwunife and the social entrepreneur and veteran industrialist Godwin Ezemo. Then you look at Dr. Godem Madoka, Chief Dr. Obiora Gongo, Senator Andioba, Chido Nwankwo, Nicholas Okachukwu. These are heavyweights. And when you come to Abga, you find the economist, seasoned economist and former chieftain of the central bank, Dr. Charles Soludo. We also have George Morgan coming with his experience. I'm from the Ogbonianu days in the old Abia State. Up till now, he has been there. So he is also there. Then Andioba in APC. So what we are saying is that we are trying to look at what this private sector driven people can do. A different approach to governance. And if you look at Anambra State, you find that all those who have ruled Anambra always came from outside the administrative mainstream, starting from the first governor, who was a journalist, then up to Ngige, up to when you had Itobi. They always came from the private sector. So even the current one also came from the private sector. But we are now looking at the contributions can be made by the pathfinders, the pioneers of Akurulu, people like Godwin Ezemo. Because amongst the trailblazing individuals who have done much, like Innocent Kocharis and the others, he happens to be the only one that is showing interest at this point in time, and is one of the front runners. So the whole collective, the political gladiators, Ekwunife, Ezemo, Madoka, Obiora, Andioba, and all of them, is going to be a very interesting game at the end of the day.
I love the word game. I love the word you use there. It's going to be an interesting game. Now, Dr. Augustine Okolie, looking at what he has said, now he has counted some of the names of the people who are showing interest. Now, let's look at capacity. Now, at the capacity of the various contestants, do you think that all of these people have the capacity to hold on to that dream? When you said Anambra is supposed to be like a California, do you think that these people have that capacity to take it there?
Yeah, Jude, thank you so much. To zero in on who the cap fits.
Yes.
All of them are iconic personalities. Those who are contesting and those who are supporting them. But, like he said, most of them come from outside. And when they now begin campaign, the first phase of their campaign is to do consultations. They begin to meet stakeholders. They begin to meet the people, some of them for the first time. They even begin to do introductions. Who they are, what they do, where they're coming from, and what they intend to do. But there are some of those candidates mentioned who live with the people, who share cola every morning with the people, who believe in Anambra, who invest in Anambra, who trust Anambra people, who cohabit and share the problems and challenges of Anambra, the environmental problems, the social problems. Like during the COVID period, some people are living with them. So some of the guests or guest politicians who normally visit, some of them are emergency philanthropists. They come during the elections and during campaigns at times like this. They come to share material things, give some money, because they leverage on poverty of the people that is in the land. Anambra is not an exception. Even though they are ranked as one of the wealthiest, the per capita income is one of the best. When I say they are number one, it's not just ordinary rhetoric. So most of these candidates come from outside. They begin to say, okay, let us consult with the traditional rulers. Let us consult with members of the clergy and laity. Let us consult with the grassroots people. But those who are with them know the problem. He mentioned Ezemo. Ezemo has been with people since he came back from UK about 20 years ago. Since then, all his investments, he has a radio station like this for community radio. Because whatever you do, if you do not communicate properly with the people, if you do not go and let people know what is going on and get feedbacks, they might be swimming in the dark. So it is important that you have to site a radio station in the village. People like him also built a 5-star hotel at Umuchu there in Agotalo. So if you go there, you will see what it means that to believe in somebody. Because believing and conviction are two different things. They're thin line. But the other one is the next level. When you have a conviction about something, you can believe, generally we believe in, I can say I believe in you, but when you have a conviction about something, then they say where your heart lies is where treasure is. So you invest in the people, then generating jobs, employment will be the secondary beneficiaries. You have what we call a multiplier effect from security men, drivers, and those who work in the hotel. And it provides, places for resorts and social activities. Now, roads that leads to and from, he builds roads, not only in his community, but around Anambra. Churches, he built churches and donates. So these are the type of people that they should look at, not emergency, philanthropists who come now and begin to distribute money and begin to make promises. Probably they may not even keep. Now, the people we have to look at, who the cap will fit, are people who are humble. There is a cutting edge there, Jude. Those who have not, been politically exposed before. Because when they're politically exposed, either by appointment or elections, you make enemies. You step on toes. You carry baggages of those who say, instead of you becoming governor. So that is for the political parties. So don't pick a candidate who people will wrestle to the ground, to the Supreme Court. Whatever he wins, they continue to fight him. There are some people that are, we call them, with all due respect and modesty, political virgins. They have no baggage. They are new and they are industrialists. They are also helping and sorting out with the parties. They have supported parties, they have grassroots. So what parties needs mobilization? And there's no better way to mobilize people than to deal with them, so that you do not need to consult them. They know you, you know them. You speak their language, you breathe the same air. You also know their challenges. So these are where the Anambra people will go. So when you have a cacophony of masquerades, then you now zero in on the cutting edge. What do this person has that the other person doesn't have? What is it that can differentiate you, that can make you the candidate to beat? Because when you look at all these people, most of them are politically exposed. Some of them are in the Senate, some of them have taken appointment, some of them have either tried before and failed. Some of them have already made those baggages that parties have to run away from. Look at them, you see those who are not. And those who have that education, who have seen democracy as it works, particularly those who have gone to US and UK. Now those who are here with us. So when you bring the cap, who the cap will fit, I think we look at the direction of the people who are living with the people, who have done great things, and who are entrepreneurs of no mean feat. This entrepreneurship, because Anambra is a home of industrialists, entrepreneurs, business. Every street is a market. Every street is a production center in Anambra, from Onitsha down the whole place. And they have senatorial zones. They have even what they say. Some people say they don't want zoning. Some people say they want zoning. But apart from that, the people know who have not taken. The people know, leave party alone. Party may say we don't want zoning. Party may say we want zoning. But the people know, like, if we are three, we are eating, we have 3 meats. If you take, I take, the remaining one is for the weekend. And if you take another one, then I will not take. Yeah. So it is for the people to resolve. So you will also use your mindset to be able to do that allocation quietly in the inner cubicle. So that when you come, the people will now, then the election and the contest will be competitive. Because what deters people from coming and participate during elections is the choice of wrong candidates. When parties pick wrong candidates, when parties pick the wrong people, then it is no contest. Then you begin to hear those who are sitting on the fence. Begin to hear people are apathetic, apathy during election. People play football on the day of elections. People go to markets. People go to farms on the day of elections. So, but when you bring in, just like June 12th election, then you no longer need to mobilize people. People will stand up and come out and ensure that they will vote. They will not only vote, they will cast their vote and defend their vote. You don't need to urge them to defend their vote. So this is what will make it easier for the political parties. And if you look at this, what will make it easier for the political parties. And if you look at the three major political parties I've outlined, that's APUGA, APC, and PDP, there's what we call a management SWOT analysis. The areas of your strength, the areas of your weakness, the areas of opportunity, and the areas of threat. I think strength and opportunity can fall on the same side, whereas weakness and threat can also align on the same side. So parties have to consider those people who may win, but may drag them to a very long level of Supreme Court and so on. And those who so many people will not, contest and fight and ensure, because in Anambra, we have so many big men.
Yeah, because
so many big men that
the list is endless.
contesting for governorship in Anambra is like contesting for president in Nigeria. So nothing is lacking, not resources, not men, not environment, not conviviality. But incidentally, if you look at Anambra carefully, you will notice that upon all these things, the elections have not been violent. So it shows people who understood the game, like you said, you're interested in the mention of the game, because game is fair play. Game is not do or die. Game is not killing people or hiring thugs. Game is somebody must win, and the winner must emerge, and the others will wait for another day. So I think that if Anambra people should consult me, I will tell them to look well, because what they are looking for are far place. Like what Yoruba used to say in their proverb, that in Kotion Peroni Sokoto, to wani Sokoto. What they are looking for in far from Sokoto is inside their pockets. It's inside their Sokoto. So if they look very well, they will find their candidate waiting to be nominated, waiting to be picked, and waiting to serve, waiting to be elected without even much judicial involvement. So I want to urge them. Most of them are living in Enugu here. They have intelligentsia, they have opinion leaders, they have what people will call influencers. So they are not lacking in anything. So, but what they are lacking for, or what they are lacking, is unanimity of purpose, a consensus of the direction they should go. So, but if they look very well,
they will find it.
They will find it.
All right.
And our man from, Umuju fits the bill, if you ask me, because not only that, they have not stepped on toes, you still have not, contested for such high level. So, but if you look at others who are carrying baggages, they might bring a lot of problems. The squabbles might be high, and the contest might be very expensive.
Honorable Abia Onyike, do you subscribe to what he said?
Yeah, I think so, yes, to a large extent. Because the problem lies now with the delegates, the party delegates who are going to select their flag bearers. And so we have about 3 major political parties that are in the forefront of this Anambra governorship elections. We have the APC, then we have the ABGA, then we have the PDP. And therefore, it depends on the quality candidate they are able to bring forward, like he said. Because in politics, you cannot be sure of everything all the time. It's a very fluid game. It's very dynamic. And therefore, if any of the political parties makes any mistake of bringing forward somebody that is controversial, somebody that is not going to be grassrooted, somebody that is not going to drive the next generation socio-economic and political agenda of Anambra people, then it is most likely that the other party who has such a presentation will make it. Why? Because the Anambra voters are very independent-minded because they are also economically independent.
Interesting.
Anambra State is not a civil service state, and that's why those voters are very, very independent. So let me learn.
Okay.
You have to bring your best. For the ABGA, which is the incumbent political party, the governor ruling the state is ABGA. Well, it depends on how it goes. They cannot just depend on the governor himself, because ABGA have had a number of internal contradictions in the past. And instead of growing to expand to other states, it's rather contracting. Okay, so between Charles Soludo and George Mogano, George Mogano is a seasoned politician, like I said. He was Director General in the Old Abia State in the early 1990s until he went to be in charge of the federal government agency in charge of waterways. He has, come from a very long journey of political tutelage, and therefore he is not a candidate that we can wave aside for the ABGA. Charles Soludo, a erudite economist, articulate polemicist from the central bankers, former governor of central bank, also has a lot to offer. So between the two and others, let them go and decide whom to bring. Then Andy Oba and others in APC, Andy Oba had been there before. Was he the person who was a governor for 6 months?
Yes, he was a governor on the courts.
So that is what I'm saying. So the pedigree is there. Then coming to the PDP, where you have the largest number of contestants, as at the last count, about 16 of them. And the last time they screened 10, and they're still going to screen the remaining 6 or 7 before the election of that is the delegate election, which is slated for about the 26th or 27th of this month. So we have them, very powerful people. So on the issue of women emancipation, feminism, Uche Bunifa is a front runner. You can't pocket her. Then in the area of industrialization, agro-industrialization, Godwin Ezemo will have an edge because amongst the pathfinders in the Kurulu project who have decided to pioneer agricultural revolution most recently, people like Chief Madoka of Kocharis. If you go and look at the sort of farms they have in Anambra State, you will marvel. Those others are not contesting. Godwin Ezemo is the only person involved in the governorship race because, like I told you, the next generation development agenda in Anambra and places like that will have to be dependent on the need to drive the agricultural sector to now produce the natural resources that we need for industrialization, for industrial revolution to be opened up. And so we have people like Chief Dr. Obiora Okongo, another business magnate who recently launched an airline. He's also a good entrepreneur, very powerful. And in fact, got a Madoka too. So all of them have done something very spectacular. But by the time you look at the agro-industrial openings that have been created by Godwin Ezemo, you begin to see him as one of the major front runners in the forthcoming Guba primaries. He's not the only front runner. The others I mentioned are also front runners, but it is now left for the Anambra people who are going to do the election. For them to continue to emphasize on money will not save the situation. Politicians who come and give you money will not be able to remember you when they have gone into office, because they try to recoup the money that they spent. That has always been the problem. So they become jittery. So it is now left for them, because the entire world is watching on Anambra to do the proper things.
Okay. Now, we will be joined by, of course, Kingsley Ezenwanyi from Anambra State. He's also a political analyst. I'm hoping that my producers have gotten him on the phone so we can quickly ask him. We have this question. Of course, I'm going to share the question with you as well in the studio. Good morning, Mr. Kingsley Ezenwanyi. All right. Good morning. Okay, Ezenwanyi. Sorry, my bad. Sorry, I apologize for that. So I've got to. So now we're talking Anambra politics today. Now it appears that there is an understanding and agreement that power will shift from Anambra South in 2022, while some argue that that 3 Anambra senatorial zones have respectively had their turn of governorship and that the process should be thrown open. Others are of the opinion that when it was the turn of the North, some aspirants from the South and Central zones also ran. So now, how can equity be achieved? And will it be based on the premise of purposeful leadership and the capacity to lead and deliver good governance in Anambra State?
When
All right, sir. All right, thank you so much for your contribution on this. Now we're quickly going to go to the phone lines and open the phone lines and take your calls as well. And the guest in the studio would as well look at what that topic as well, the zoning part. Hello, good morning. Good morning. All right, so still go ahead and call us up. Sorry, we do apologize. We can't get you messages on our Facebook because we're having a little bit of technical issues on that. So while we wait, okay, we've got a caller coming through. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Oh, okay. All right, so why don't I go back to the guest in the studio? Now, let's look at the zoning issue now. We're talking about leadership. We're talking about, the future of Anambra State, and this issue has crept back on. Dr. Colin.
I want to appreciate Kingsley for throwing more light into the discussion. Like I said before, the discussion is becoming more interesting. That is the type of discussion I want to indulge in, that is competitive, that is knowledge-based. You see, Kingsley has been able to analyze and complement what you are saying here at the studio. What I see is that without being immodest, Igbo people are looked upon for their entrepreneurship, for their industry, for their, independence. That is why it is difficult to handle Igbo people in the polity, because before they believe in you, before they believe in anything, they have to examine it. They examine it, they now have their own opinion, and they will state it. And that is where you get the Igbo heartland, is in Anambra State. The nucleus, with all due respect to other various states, I'm not coming from Anambra, I come from Enugu here, but I see clearly what is going on in Anambra. Talking about commerce, what is going on in Onitsha can only be compared with only Lagos in West Africa. People come from Benin Republic, people come from Niger and Chad to buy things of Onitsha. We need somebody with entrepreneurial spirit, with good, vision to be able to talk about the local component of how to dredge River Niger. We need River Niger for marine transport. Most of the time, we all say federal government, federal government. They do not want to do that 50 years down the line after the Civil War. I want to see a governor who have that vision. Then entrepreneurship and industry, creativity. In Oka are known for their goldsmith and blacksmith industry. They can make any type of gun. They can make any type of metal work, concrete work, and other artifacts in Oka. They are known for that. So somebody who will leverage on what the people have as natural endowments and scale acquisition. These are the people you have to look at. But first of all, political parties are interested in winning the election. They want to win. Anybody you touch will say, oh, we want to win first. But you talk about who will win and who will impact on the people. Talking about how the winning was able to x-ray some people who do not know that it is possible that the governor of Central Bank can give charity. Like during the Sanusi days, there was a kind of something, either a natural disaster or something in Kano. He gave them 100 million. People are wondering from which money. They said they have that capacity to give. So some people, do not have that vision. Now, when you look at people, what they're able to do, they say charity begins at home. Charity begins at home is the correlation of Akurolo. Akurolo is that some people have invested in Dubai, they have invested in Kano. 70 to 80% of properties in Abuja are owned by Igbo. And if you talk about Igbo, majority of them are owned by Anambra. They're not talking about the price of cement, the price of building materials. And that is, they continue to build wherever they come. So why don't we build Anambra? They have built roads, but they need to expand. You can see about 4 people are about to own airlines. About 2 or 3 have already owned airlines. The man from Peace Air or APs. And the man that I have just mentioned too as a candidate. So you can imagine a place, if you know how much it takes to get a license to own a commercial airline.
But Kingsley also mentioned that he doesn't want it to be about the money spent. It should be more about, like you also mentioned, it's more about deliverance. Deliverance.
Yes, I'm coming to that about people who are coming to buy votes. Yes. That's why we are saying those who stay with the people. Those who are with the people, they don't need to consult anybody because they are in total consultation on daily basis with the people. They see the problem, they are watching it, and they are looking for opportunity. They are able to put their own. They are able to invest in the people. They believe in the people. They look for the way forward. The people. So it has a nexus with those who are coming as a transactional relationship. Transactional is such that I want to come and invest and wait for return on investment. That is those who will now come and buy votes, do small gra now, and do some kind of welfare things. And those people will now tell you that they are philanthropists. We call them emergency philanthropists. So it has a nexus with that. And those who are already having a vision whether Anambra is not capable of becoming Dubai. 1975, Dubai and Onitsha was better than Dubai. It is leadership, the credible leadership we are now seeking. So when we get it, Anambra will show the way for Southeast.
All right, now remember that the views and opinions from our guests and callers on the program is personal and does not reflect that of 92.5 Enugu's Dream FM. Please, let's see if we can pick one more caller and see. Hopefully the lines will allow us to talk. Hello, good morning. Hi, good morning. What's your name? It's Jude, but go ahead. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, what I want to say about this something like the name,
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead. We can hear you.
I've not
Go
told you
ahead.
his name and where it's coming from.
How does he know?
So how do you know there's the turn of Isuzu? What's your name again? You said your name is Delo. Where are you calling us from?
But,
All right.
but we are not analyzing Enugu.
We're not analyzing Enugu. We're looking at Anambra State. Yes, only Anambra for today.
Anambra is having elections.
All right, thank you so much. Anambra is having election come November. Now, we see this one on Facebook from Maxwell Everett Kenneth says, Anambra people should search for someone he's liking the next person should be like Peter Obi to rebuild Anambra State again. We need someone that is people's interest oriented. And we have VC Ugwai, says, the resource person is saying hello to everybody in the studio. Say Anambra is a state that needs not to be toiled with because of its human endowment. I urge INEC to conduct a free and fair election to enable the choice of the majority of the people to emerge in November. Hello, good morning. Hi, good morning. Yes, Maxwell. All right, Maxwell, go ahead. We're talking Anambra though. All right, sorry about that one. I think the network is still acting up. We have Michael, the good, says, for Anambra to have a credible leader again, there should be a stranger opposition in the state. Secondly, Anambra state must start conducting a local government election, not selection. Anambra is a one-party state, a state where a particular party won all the local government election, and the governorship gets 21-21. Please, Anambarians should wake up. All right, hello, good morning. Good morning, sir. All right, go ahead, Mike, honorable. All right, thank you so much. They should choose any of the candidate that they feel like to vote for. So finally, to my guest in the studio, Dr. Augustine Okolie, what are your final words and what you think Anambarians need to do right now prior to the election?
Well, you see, election taking is calibrated in three folds: the pre-election activities, the election proper, and the post-election activities. Now we are in the pre-election activities. The INEC have issued their guidelines and their timetable. Now it is the turn of political parties. I mentioned earlier that if parties throw up very poor candidates, then there will be no choice to make. And if you want to have strength, if you want to have opportunity to win, then you have to bring your best. And you have to watch the body language of the people. The people's votes count. The sovereignty resides with the people.
So now the political parties left for them to make
The
decisions.
political parties have to make sure that the person they bring is the person that is with the people, and not people who now come as emergency philanthropists.
All right, Honorable Abia Onyeke, final words from you about that.
Yes, Okole talked about emergency people, and that's very correct. As far back as 2011, the NUJ Press Center in Anambra State was constructed and built by a single individual. And even before then, that single individual also had to create what we call the Omega radio station because of his affinity with journalism and the press. He also built the Orient Printed Press.
Okay, that's you're talking about one
Yes,
individual.
yes, and an ICT
Yes.
training school and public library. These are media institutions that somebody created several years back. He was not even thinking about governorship, and that is Godwin Ezemo. And he's also thinking about how to come up with a drainage system in Anambra State that will combat the threat of erosion in that state, which is one of the greatest problems. Apart from what I told you should be the challenges of the next agenda.
How about the Anabarians? What should they do? We have like
what
60
they have
seconds.
to do now
as delegates.
is to go as delegates to get somebody they believe can deliver, not emergency politician.
All right, thank you so much. I want to say a big thank you to my guest in the building today, Dr. Augustine Okolie, Development and Management Consultant, Senior Lecturer on Entrepreneurship, Enugu State Polytechnic, Iwolo, and Immediate Past Director of the National Orientation Agency, Enugu State Chapter. Thank you so much, sir.
Dude, it's good to have you here.
Thank you, sir.
It's very interesting to
Thank
work
you.
with you.
Thank you so much. Honorable Abia Onyeke as well, Chairman, Alibo Development Foundation Publicity Bureau, former Commissioner for Information, Ebonyi State. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for
very
joining
much,
us.
my brother.
And also remember that the views and opinions of the guests and callers on this program is personal and does not reflect that of 92.5 Enugu's Dream FM. That's the show for today on Political Voices. Remember to keep your comments going on our social media platforms with the hashtag Political Voices. On behalf of my producer, Lotana Okeke, and the executive producer, Okio Dogu, my name is Jude Thomas Dawam. Good morning.
I feel like Jude is all around.